Okay, so I'm going to go over the process of the desk inspection part of the announced compliance inspection. Okay, so really what I'm going to go over is the desk inspection, the on-site, and then post-inspection. So right here, the process itself, kind of the overview of the process, and then we'll go into the details. You get notification, and the notification, as many of you know, is a letter. It's a letter that has 7 enclosures. Okay, and everything on those enclosures that you receive with that letter, they're all based on mandated minimum requirements that your schools must abide by, that you must be meeting. Okay, we're not throwing anything extra in there. And then you're requested to submit these requested documents within the prescribed time frames. One of them is the documentation for STRIF within 14 days. And you should already have that information when you submit your quarterly STRIF forms to the Bureau with the submission of payments. You should have the documentation that supports what you submitted already. So within 14 days should be doable, and it's also written in law that we can require it within 14 days. The rest of it, the things we're requesting are 30 days. Then after that, let's see, where are we on the slides? We review the submissions. Okay, there's no surprises. Along the way, before you submit it, if you have questions, call the analyst that's assigned to you. If he or she doesn't know the answer, they will get the answers for you. Okay, we don't want surprises. We want to help you along this process. We know you want to be in compliance, and we know there are a lot of minimum requirements, and we also know a lot of schools have not read them or are not totally familiar with them, or do not totally understand them either. So that's what we're here for, to help clarify those. So call, you submit the documents. The Bureau will review those documents for compliance. If any of the items submitted or not submitted are deficient, you'll receive a deficiency letter. And it will point out the exact law which form it came from that you were deficient on, which exact law that we're not seeing compliance, and what we need from you so that we can evaluate whether there's compliance or not. Okay, then you provide that extra information, answer any questions we might have, and then there's a final desk review of all the submissions. That entire process takes about 45 days. Okay, if there are any minor violations still outstanding at the end there, then it's referred over to the on-site inspection to determine whether there is compliance or not. I highly encourage everyone to try to complete the desk inspection part. It makes it a whole lot easier for the on-site part. Okay, so a close-up look. I'm going to go through the forms. I don't know how close we need to go through these forms, but if I'm going too slow, someone just tell me to speed it up. I don't think I will be, though. Okay, the letter itself. Many of you know what's in the letter. It gives our authority for why you're getting this inspection. It very briefly explains there's a 2-step process, and it gives you your assigned analyst's name and contact information. And then it requests submissions of documents and the due dates for those documents. Okay, the first enclosure within that, and I realize this is hard to see, it's really just up there so for those of you who haven't seen it, kind of what it looks like. Every one of these documents is up on our website for your information. Okay, so just kind of walking you through it, the first portion of every one of these pages will have your identifying information. You're going to fill in your school code, all that information, so we don't get it mixed up with one of your branches. We have that information. Then there's general instructions. That's the bold part right there, the very first bold part. For this one in particular, it says to submit the requested information and then to complete and sign the declaration at the end of the document. It provides you the due date. For the STRIF form, it's 14 days later. And then below that dark line, are the laws that relate to what we're asking for. And what we're asking for is for you to provide us the documentation as required in law that must be kept to us that supports your quarterly submissions for STRIF for the last 4 quarters. Now, some schools were finding that there is not total matching information, dollar amounts. We want the schools to come into compliance with what they're mandated to keep, what they report to us. And so if there is another quarter coming up before the end of your on-site inspection, we will ask you to submit a new set of data with your next one so that we can determine whether you're in compliance with maintaining the data for those STRIF forms. Okay, and that you're calculating it properly. That's what we're doing. We're looking at that. Okay, so that's the first form. The second form is catalog minimum requirements. It's all the information that must be included in your catalog. Okay, and then if you go down below that dark line, all the top above it is your instructions. And then right above the dark line is the due date, which is 30 days afterwards. Below that dark line are all the items you need to have in your catalog. If you go to the right column, catalog page number, what we want you to do is put the page number that that item is located on in your catalog, where you meet that requirement. If there's an X in that column, that's just for your information. You don't have to do anything. The left column, item number, say item number 3 there. What we're expecting for item number 3 is for on the right column, you're going to tell us what page that item is located in your catalog. And in the catalog, you're going to write number 3 and circle it where it is in your catalog. So this document is a 4-page document, so there's quite a bit to go through. And if you can do that for us, that helps us greatly. Now, if your catalog doesn't have something that you're required to have, you can do an addendum, right? The catalog and the addendum is provided to every student coming in, okay? Okay, the next slide is, and I know you can't really read this, I just wanted to show you, along with that catalog minimum requirements form, we're also giving you the laws that goes with every single one of those items on there. So there's no questions, you don't have to go looking for the laws. Item number 1 on that form is right there on that page, verbatim is your law, that why we're asking for that information. Okay. And I know this is probably clearer for those of you who have already received the documents than those who have not, because we're kind of jumping right into it. But what I'm trying to show you is that we really are trying to provide you what you need, what we're checking for, and then how to provide that information back to us. Okay, so the next form we have is the enrollment agreement. Same type of thing. You're going to be marking where on the enrollment agreement that item is located. And then on that last column, the third column, you're going to tell us which page of your enrollment agreement it's located. And again, if there's an X there, you don't have to do anything. That's for your information. Oh, and I should mention, at the end of each one of these forms, there's a place for a signature, your title, signature, and date, and to the best of your knowledge, the information you're submitting is correct. We do ask that you fill that out also. Okay, the next form that's included is the administration minimum requirements. Now keep in mind, again, these are the ones we can do from a distance, so there are some administration minimum requirements that will be checked when we're there on campus. So, for example, I'm not sure if you can read that or not. Item number 1, it says to please provide a copy of your institution's graduation certificates or diplomas. Then right below that, we've listed the law that we're basing that question on. Okay, and we want you to provide it for each educational program. Okay, and item number 2, we're asking you to provide all DBAs for your institution. Again, right below that is the law that goes with that. Item number 3, we're asking I'm sorry, item number 3, it actually says, for your information and does not require a response, but we want you to know this information because it is in the laws. Now, part of the instructions do state that if it doesn't pertain to your school, if it's not applicable, just write NA next to that item number. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next form, and I do know we had a few questions that were submitted in writing before, and so I'm going to address them up here, hopefully get those answered for you folks. But the next form is the admissions minimum requirement. Same type of stuff. Right below that line are the questions and the laws that go with it. Then education minimum requirements. Now, I know we had questions on this area, so I'm going to address it, and I think it's on the next slide. Yeah. So with those numbers, it's the education minimum requirements form is 5 pages. Okay, and the next slide are the questions that came in regarding that form. Okay, question number 7 on our form, which asks us, the institution shall document that the instruction offered leads to the achievement of the learning objectives of each course. A syllabus for each course is adequate as long as your syllabus meets the requirements of Section 71710C. Okay, the next question, there was confusion. Are these the same things? And they're not. The next question is the first question on our form, and it's regarding the educational program. States the educational program shall be comprised of a curriculum that includes those subject areas that are necessary for a student to achieve the educational objectives of the educational program in which the student is enrolled. What we're looking for are the skills and knowledge that the student will obtain from that program. For instance, it's a snow cone making educational program. They're going to gain the knowledge of how to freeze water. They're going to have the knowledge and skills on how to shave ice. They're going to have knowledge of different types of syrups and toppings. They're going to gain the skills on pouring those syrups. Those are the objectives they're going to have